Hello, my dear students. Now, today I am going to teach you transmission of nerve impulse, synapse, and the type of neuron. Now, as you see over here, in this flowchart, the new terms that are being introduced are like stimulus, receptor, effector, and response. Now, first, let us understand this flowchart. The first is stimulus. From stimulus, receptor, then sensory neuron, then CNS is the central nervous system, relay neuron, motor neuron, effector, and response. Now, sensory, motor, and relay neuron, I have explained you in my previous video. You can check that. They are the types of neuron. And the new terms over here are stimulus. Now, what is stimulus? Stimulus is an agent or a sudden change of external or internal environment that result in the change in an organism or any of its body part. Now, few examples of stimulus are light, sound, heat, pain, or hunger, right? Now, receptor, what are receptor? They are a specialized epithelial cell which on receiving the stimulus set up waves or of impulse towards the CNS, that is the central nervous system, that is the brain. It gives transfers the signal to the brain, right? Now, few examples of receptor are photoreceptor for vision, phonoreceptor for sound, thermoreceptor for temperature, and olfactory receptor for your smell, right? The next term over here is effector. Now, what is effector? They are muscles or gland which on receiving the impulse from brain or spinal cord contract or secrete substances. Okay. Uh, Now the next one over here is response. Now what is response? Response, as the name, to respond to something, right? It is a change in an organism resulting due to the stimulus. Okay? So it is a response to the stimulus. Now I'll make it clear to you with the help of a diagram. Now over here there is another flowchart. Now for example, I'm giving you an example to explain these terms again. Now the if you like, if whenever you are thirsty, what do you search for? You search for water, no? So what do you do? If you see a glass of water, so the glass of water is your stimulus, right? Now how do you see? You see with your eyes. Your eyes are your photoreceptor. Photo means like vision, no? So eyes are your photoreceptors. So you see it with your eyes. Now what happened? Your eyes transfer the message to your brain through the sensory neuron. Your brain, and what does relay neuron do? It connects the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. Now what happened? Brain quickly do the thinking part that you are thirsty and you have seen a glass of water. Then what you have to do? You will drink the water. Now for that you have to use your hand. So the motor neuron quickly transfer the signal to your hand, that your hand is the effector that pick up the glass of water and drink it. So drinking the water is the response, right? Now this is all about the transmission, and now I'll explain you the mechanism. How does the transmission actually occur? Now if you can see, this is the diagram of a sodium potassium pump. Now I'll explain you the working of transmission of nerves impulse. Now the first one, as you see, that is the resting axon. Now in a normal condition, the outside of the nerve fiber carries positive charge. This is called polarized state, right? This is the polarized state when outside is positive charge. The sodium ions are present outside, so it is positively charged outside, and inside it is negatively charged. Now then what happened? This polarization is due to more sodium ion outside the axon membrane, right? The outer membrane is the axon membrane, so it is due to the presence of sodium ion outside the membrane. Now on stimulation, that is mechanical, electrical, chemical, or heat, what happens? The axon membrane at that spot become more permeable to sodium ion, which moves inward. Now as it moves inwards, what happens? It causes the loss of polarization and it becomes depolarized. Now in the second diagram you can see that, no, polarized state where the membrane becomes permeable, that area sodium ion moves inside. Then you can see over there the positive charge are going inside and the inner part has become depolarized. Now this is also known as the excited region or the excited axon. The point of depolarization become the stimulus for the next neighboring area of the membrane, which in turns become depolarized. So what happened? The neighboring, it becomes the transfer the become the stimulus for the next neighboring area, and it becomes depolarized. Meanwhile, the previous area becomes repolarized due to active transport of sodium ion again by the outside. This transport is achieved by what is called sodium potassium pump. Okay, and this is done with the help of energy through ATP. You know ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Now moving further, now this diagram is showing you synapse. Now what are synapse? Syn means together and apse means gap of window. Now synapse is a point of contact between two terminal branches of axon of a neuron with the dendrite of another neuron. So axon of one neuron and dendrite of other neuron are connected there is a gap in between them where the transmission take place. Now that is known as, the gap is known as synapse. Okay, now what happens during this by this? At the synapse, the nerve impulse jump into the next neuron. This is a chemical process. As the impulse reaches the terminal end of the axon, the chemical acetylcholine is released. This chemical set a new impulse in the dendrites of the adjacent neuron. The chemical is soon broken down by the enzyme to make the synapse ready for the next transmission. So now it makes it ready for the next transmission. Now over here you can see the chemical. The blue dots are denoting the chemical. So that chemical is acetylcholine. And how the signal is transmitted is by the yellow line. So you can see the signal is transmitted from one neuron to the other neuron, the dendrite of one neuron, and the which part of the other neuron is connected? Can you guess? Just try and think. I've just told you. Okay, I'm telling you again. The terminal branch of axon of one neuron. The terminal branches of the axon of one neuron is connected to the dendrite of the other neuron. And which chemical is released? Acetylcholine is released, and through that is why the signal are transmitted from one neuron to another neuron, right? Now, moving further, if you see this diagram is showing you the three types of neuron, how they are connected. You can see the connection between the neuron. The first one is sensory neuron, the second is interneuron, or interneuron is also known as association or connecting neuron, and the third one is motor neuron. Now what does sensory neuron do? It conveys the impulse from the receptor. Receptors are the sense organ. I explained you know, photoreceptor, phonoreceptor, and all the types of receptors, olfactory receptors, to the main nervous system. Your main nervous system is the brain and the spinal cord, right? Then what happens? Association, connection, or interneuron. What does it do? It is, as the name suggests, it is associating, it is connecting, it is the connection between sensory and the motor neuron, right? So it is located where it is located in the brain or and spinal cord, which connect the sensory and the motor neuron, right? And the third one over here is motor neuron. Motor means actually movement, no? So this is the neuron which quickly transfers the signal to that part of the body which has to do something. Like if you have to drink a water, the which part of the body will you use? You'll use it. Of course, you'll use your hand. So your brain tells you to pick up the glass of water with your hand within a fraction of seconds. So who transfers the signal? The motor neuron is transferring the signal over here, right? So this is all about the transmission of nerve impulse. I hope it is clear to everyone. If you have a problem, please do comment in the comment box. I'll be happy to clear your doubts, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me the questions related to the topic. And if you like my video, please do share, subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Thank you so much.